Welcome to our training videos on Windows 7, the latest client operating system from Microsoft. Now for some of you listening to this video, you'll be coming from a Windows Vista background, wondering what Windows 7 has that Vista doesn't. Some of you'll be coming from XP. Maybe you upgraded to Vista, then you went back to XP, or you never even touched Vista, but now you're curious to see what Windows 7 has to offer. And there'll be some of you, perhaps you're running a competitive operating system like Linux or Mac OS X, and you need to run some Windows applications, so you want to see what Windows 7 has to offer. When Windows Vista came out, it really wasn't well received. There were a lot of complaints about lack of support for hardware, or in other words, we needed good drivers that just weren't there. Popular software didn't work. There were complaints about the lack of performance of the operating system in general. And, quite frankly, there were just some complaints about anything to do with Vista. In my opinion, though, some of it was a bit harsh. Sure, drivers were a problem, but then again, they've always been a problem with new operating systems. The performance was an issue, but with some tweaking, you could get some decent, stable performance out of Windows Vista. So, with all of this bad press about Vista, Microsoft had to do something, and whatever they did, they needed to fix this Vista mess quickly. So here we are with Windows 7. Now it's been suggested by some people that Windows 7 is really just Windows Vista with a Service Pack 2. Now Microsoft, they'll certainly dispute that, but whether or not that's true, there's a lot of differences between Windows 7 and Windows Vista. So if you're coming from a Windows XP background and you're taking a look at Windows 7 for the first time, you're going to see a lot of changes and some really good ones. But if you're coming from Windows Vista, then it mightn't appear that a lot has changed, but Windows 7, it's definitely faster than Vista, it's really stable, and it offers some new usability features that certainly make it worth the upgrade. Alright, well let's move on, and we'll talk about some of the new features, and you can make up your own mind if you want to use it. The most obvious new feature of Windows 7, especially if you're coming from Vista, is the newly designed taskbar. Now this has been a complete rewrite, so it's a little different from what we're used to, in that it might seem a little weird at first. However, once you get the hang of it, I think you're going to love it, as it's so much quicker to use and open and close your favourite applications. So we're going to dedicate an entire video to this new taskbar, so we're going to talk about it in a lot more detail later on, but suffice to say right now, it's a real winner. Now one of the other complaints about Windows Vista, and indeed pretty much every version of Windows since, well, forever, is that with each new version of Windows, your old applications inevitably, they don't work anymore. Well, that's true. There's always some application which doesn't work with the new operating system, and that should be expected. But Microsoft has come to the party with a very cool solution. Since Windows XP, and not Windows Vista, Windows XP is the dominant Microsoft operating system, especially in the corporate market, Microsoft wanted to make sure that Windows 7 retained compatibility with Windows XP. How they achieved this is by using a virtual version of Windows XP for you to run your applications on. So, if you plan to move over to Windows 7, but you find that, say, 3 out of 30 of your SOE applications don't work on Windows 7, you can run those 3 applications in a virtual Windows XP session, so they'll still work fine, and then you can migrate them over to a newer version later on, or even a new application as time goes by. So you'll get the stability and performance and the cool new features of Windows 7, but when you need it, you'll get Windows XP compatibility as well. Now this feature doesn't ship with Windows 7, it is a separate download, but it doesn't cost anything extra, so if you need it, we're going to show you how to get it. Now since this is also a new operating system, there's a chance that people are going to have problems, so Microsoft have introduced a new little application called the Problem Steps Recorder. Now this really cool little application allows you to record your Windows screens, showing the steps you took and the things you did to arrive at your problem. Now it'll automatically package up all of this information into a zip file, which you can then send to somebody else so that they can assist you with the problem that you're having. Now, I imagine that this tool is going to be a huge time saver for help desk staff and people that deal directly with end users, as sometimes the hard part in solving a problem is trying to understand the problem. So rather than trying to explain it, this tool could show the exact problem. Now it's a really cool feature, and I suspect that it will be used quite heavily once Windows 7 takes hold. Now one of my favourite new features of Windows 7 is called Libraries. This allows you to take files and folders from different locations on your hard drives and then bring them all together so that they can be accessed from a central location. So the cool part is the files and folders themselves, they stay where they are, but libraries simply link to those files and folders, and this makes managing your files much easier from a single central location. Windows 7, a first for Microsoft here, also supports DivX out of the box, and since DivX is one of those very popular, can't do without type of codecs that you require to watch a lot of videos that are available on the internet, it's nice that Microsoft had made Windows 7 supported out of the box. Now another nice feature is what Microsoft are calling Snap. No, it's not a new card game, but rather a way of resizing open windows by just moving them to a certain part of the screen. So for example, if you open up Internet Explorer or Word and you drag and drop the application window straight up at the top of your screen, it'll maximize the application. Grab it and move it again, and it'll shrink it back to its original position. Now Aero Shake is another weird but cool feature. Simply by shaking the mouse from side to side a few times, it's going to make all of your windows disappear from view except the currently open one. Shake that window again and they'll all come back the way they were. Now Windows 7 also brings along some welcome changes with user account control. Now if you've used Windows Vista before, then you'd know that user account control was one of the most hated things about Windows Vista. Unfortunately, it was also one of the best things about Windows Vista. You see, from a security perspective, user account control, it sat there in the background, and its job was to protect your computer from nasty applications and code that wanted to make changes to your computer. Now the problem was that it was always in your face. It was always popping up and always asking you to confirm just about everything that you did, and it was annoying. So now in Windows 7 it's still there, but it rarely shows itself, so you get the best of both worlds. Now we also have a new home group feature, which is designed to help out with networking PCs, as well as a new printer location awareness feature that can automatically configure the right printer depending on where you are. So if you're at the office on your notebook, it'll automatically connect to the office printer, but when you come home, your own inkjet printer will be made the default one. Now there's a lot of other things that have changed with Windows 7 since Vista came out, and if you're an XP user, then it will seem like you're almost learning a new operating system. But really, once you spend a little time with Windows 7, you'll find that it's very intuitive, and it's hard to go back once you've got used to these new features. In this video, we've talked about Windows 7, the latest and I think the greatest client operating system available from Microsoft. So, is it worth the upgrade? That's the real question. Of course, I think it is, but that's a decision that you as the eventual user or you as a member of your company will need to decide. Now it runs great, even on average hardware, it's very stable and it's fast, and the new features make it a pleasure to use. For a lot of you though, there mightn't be one standout feature that screams for you to simply have to upgrade to Windows 7, but when you add all of these great new features and even the subtle changes together, it all makes for a very compelling reason to upgrade. Now we hope you've enjoyed this video and would like to thank you for watching.